Child 44 by Tom Rob Smith. Set in Stalinist Russia, we follow a KGB officer whose friend's son is murdered. And in this Stalinist utopia, murder isn't supposed to happen. And so the main character, Leo, has to figure out whether he's going to lie for the States and cover it up, or if he's going to get to the bottom of what's really going on. This is one of my favorite books. I don't often come back to books and reread them, but Child 44 is one of those books that really hits a certain note with me that I love it. I've often thought about why I'm so intrigued by this book. It has a level of suspense that is unique in the way that he does it. And I've thought about it many times about why is it so different with this book than in other books. And I've realized it's because it's how he does the setting. The whole world is just so oppressive. Everything you do, it's like you're being watched by the government, and the government is just a step away from bursting into your home and taking you away into some mysterious gulag black hole. And I think that constant danger makes me so interested in what happens to Leo as he's trying to figure this out. This book has probably one of the best literary villains that I've ever come across. And it's not the individual bad characters that are throughout the book. You have the fellow officer of Leo that's constantly trying to undermine him and make his life miserable. You have the serial killer who's murdering children. You have people who are informing on each other. And it feels like a lot of the characters are just bad people, but the actual villain of the story is not any of them in particular, it's the whole system. It's the communist utopia set up by the Stalinist regime that's the real villain of the story. Because you see in several parts of the story how people are incentivized to do the bad thing. And that's a running theme of this story, because you have Leo, who's a good guy, who's trying to do the right thing, but at every step he knows that he will be better off if he chooses the wrong thing. And that's what makes it so interesting as a moral tale. Another part of the book that I really liked was the relationship between Leo and his wife, because his wife married him just because she was afraid to do anything else. If a KGB officer comes up and shows interest in you and you're a woman in Russia, you have a lot of pressure, like what if I turn him down, like are these going to be these terrible consequences? So their relationship didn't start off in a great place, and she doesn't start this novel with any particular love for him. At one point in the novel, he has to make a choice of whether to investigate his wife or to stand by her and say that she had nothing to do with this evil American plot. And it's a real turning point in the novel, because to say that she's not a part of any sort of conspiracy means that he's the one that's also in on the conspiracy. It's a suicidal move to go against the state like that. But it's fascinating to watch their relationship develop in the course of the novel. Their relationship is a goodness surrounded by all sorts of terrible relationships around them. So that's what this book is about. Like, you get those little pockets of really good relationships between people, between communities, that are like a shining light in a very, very dark setting, which makes it just shine all the brighter. And I think that's the essence of the magic of this book. The good news is Tom Rob Smith went on to make this into a trilogy, and I love the whole trilogy. Child 44 is probably the best, but I still love the other two. They're a lot of fun, The Secret Speech and Agent 6. So if you haven't read this book already, I highly recommend. I'm going to give this a solid 5 stars. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments below.